Hi everyone, this is Diane. Let's talk about what's on my messy table today. I've just been preparing some elements for the Peacock journals, and what I'm going to be doing in the video today will be for future journals also. I just want to make some elements, and I'll use some of them in the Peacock journals and save some for another journal. So I thought we'd have fun with that together. But I wanted to show you what I did with these. These are crochet pieces. Like, something like that. And they're vintage, and I just sprayed them with some purples and blues and greens. And they're wet right now because I took them to the sink. I did just these three, no, I guess these four, and rinsed them. I just was experimenting, and I wanted to see how much of the color would come off if I rinsed them. And of course, they're not going to get wet once they're in the book. But I wondered if they would lighten if I rinsed them. So I'll probably, they did a little bit, but not a lot. I'll probably cut pieces off of these and just decorate my pages with some of these, and probably use bigger pieces in some cases. This is a thin lace, which I absolutely love. These came from the same, it was a collar. So I'm going to have fun with these. I'll set them aside so they can dry. And I have been doing some embossing. I started out with my white cardstock scraps. And this one I won't use because the ink smeared, but what a pretty color. And I just wanted to point out, I'm using Stampin' Up! And Tim Holtz embossing powders, but I have this one, which I don't know the brand. And I don't know where I got it. It came in a box of stuff. I think I got it at a yard sale or something. So it's probably just a cheap kind of embossing powder. It's full to the brim. But look how beautiful it is. And I don't have this one. This is distressing glaze. So you can see, or embossing glaze, which you can see through. So I don't have that done on white paper, but this is beautiful. So you don't have to have the expensive embossing powder. Just wanted to point that out. But I did that one, and then I decided to try using my scraps of dyed papers. So I did that same circle on a little strip of blue dyed paper and cut it out. And I added it to this little piece of lace that came off of this. And there's a little white lace underneath that, and that'll be a little embellishment. I could put a gem in there, or I could stamp a word or something, so I could finish that a little bit more. Looks like it needs something, doesn't it? So I want to experiment with different embossing powders on the different colors. So this, I can just cut out the square very easily and then layer it with something. Layer it with some laces or cheesecloth or whatever I want to, and just glue it to a page. And I don't want to feel rushed in making arrangements and collages and things, so we're probably not going to do a bunch of that today, but I can show you one that I've actually glued into my book. Here's one, was a circle that I embossed with gold, and I added this cheesecloth, which I sprayed when I was making mermaid journals. So I just took a little piece of that and this little bit of lace. And let me show you. Oh, I did some corners. These are really pretty. And I think they're Tim Holtz. They came with one of his sets. And I embossed them with detail silver. And this is Personal Stamp Exchange. And it's no longer in business. Hasn't been for a long time. But and the embossing powder is still good. So I did this little corner. And I cut the straight lines and then tore this line. And I'll show you. I wanted to see how it looked applied to a page. So I stamped I don't see the stamp right off the bat here, but I stamped this little flourish with pale ink, Sahara sand, I think, from Stampin' Up, and then glued that corner there. And I think that's just a nice subtle embellishment on the page, and it's a coffee dyed page, and then you can still write on it. That's the only one I've added to the book so far. I just wanted to see how that looked. So I have some more of those corners I can deal with. Set that aside. I did some gold, another gold corner there, a different corner, but I wanted to try a different color on this blue instead of the gold. So I'll just clean that. This is from Tim Holtz set called Floral Tattoos, because they look like henna designs, I think. It doesn't go in there. But perfect for this peacock journal. So I'm going to just try embossing this in a different color. Oh, I did it here. This is also from that Floral Tattoo set. There they are in the blue Distressing Glaze. So they're kind of see-through. Oops. I dropped my stamp block with the stamp on it. Is it just me, or when you drop something, does it just bounce away out of sight? I can't even see it. Does that just happen to me? So I think we'll skip that for now, because I'm going to have to get down on the floor and look for it. Set that aside. And I did these. They are from the Kathy Holden Flea Market Fresh in silver detail. These would definitely have to be a detail embossing powder, otherwise it would just look like a blob. And you can see, because it's crinkly, because it's dyed paper, the ink didn't touch down all the way, but that's okay because of the type of journal it is. If you wanted a very clear and crisp design, you'd want to do it on a flatter paper. So I'm just going to do some more embossing with different colors, and I'll have lots of things to play with in this journal and for future journals. This is leftover from a technique I did on, it's got gesso on it, I think. I can feel it. And I took a script sort of stamp and stamped it with, put different colors on it, and then sprayed the stamp itself with water before I stamped it onto the paper. And these parts were cut off of that, so I thought these might be good elements too for this journal. Alright, I'm using my Versamark ink again. I've got plenty of those elements, I think. I have my Tim Holtz fragments. These pieces of paper are small, so I'll have to use the smaller stamps. I could use bits of the bigger ones. Even this is going to go off the edge a bit. Let's try, I don't know if I'd like green on the purple. I'm going to put the blue on the purple, but that's what we have here. I have done lots of stamping on my strips of cut off papers, coffee dyed and white, whatever. I've done that lots of times, but I don't know if I've ever embossed. Got some embossing powder clinging here. if you're confused about the word emboss, because we refer to something else as being embossed too, there are two kinds of embossing. Oh, I should show that to you, shouldn't I? I think that's pretty, and that'll look nice on a page. There is the dry embossing, which is where you like press a design into something. So this was with an embossing folder that's designed to do that, and it doesn't require any wet media. It's just dry, and you can also do that with a brass stencil and a stylus. You trace around the design with your stylus, and it impresses the design. I used to do that, but I don't have them anymore. So that's dry embossing. And this is wet embossing, because we're using the wet ink. I had a feeling it wasn't going to stick, and that's not even a Stampin' Up! Stamp. I could do silver or gold. I think I'll do silver. It's not completely covered, but if I tip it so that it runs this way, the embossing powder will touch on all those areas and stick. One thing I haven't been doing is using the embossing buddy. This, if you rub that on it, it eliminates most of the static or whatever is on your paper, so that the embossing powder won't stick to that area, or the oils of your hands right there. Yeah, it's got some powder there that doesn't belong. But I'm not that worried about it because of the kind of a boho loosey-goosey feel to the peacock journals that I'm doing. I think you can see it turning shiny as it melts. And I just have these little sections I can use. These peachy colors. They're pink, but they're kind of a peachy pink. This one even has dots on it. Trying to see what might fit. Oh, that fits nicely. I think we'll do gold on this one. I think this had some color left on it. That's okay. If you have, it's a little bit, let's do something smaller here. If you have a wet ink, like a pigment ink in any color, you can emboss with that, with a clear embossing powder, and you'll get the color of your ink. I'll demonstrate that with this ink that I just got. I think it's noon already. It's pretty hot, so you don't want to get your fingers near it. The heat gun would be your biggest investment if you don't do embossing, but I have had this for so many years. I bought it before I started journaling. I bought it when I was making cards and my children were still at home. And I think it cost $30 back then. But you can get them cheaper than that now, I think. I don't know, because I don't shop for them. But then if you, like the embossing powders aren't that much, and if you just got a couple of base typical colors like black, I would recommend black, gold, and silver. And then if you do like to use pigment inks, you buy a clear embossing powder, and whatever colors of pigment ink you already have. Looking for my clear. We're going to try this one. I just got this at Hobby Lobby on clearance, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten it. And you'll see my Hobby Lobby clearance. You may have already seen it. I don't know what order all of these things are going in. The only problem is I have a hard time getting the lid off. It's just me, I know. So that's what it looks like. But it is pigment ink, which means it stays wet longer. Let's try this one. I am tired of stamps that don't want to stick to their blocks. I think you can wet it and it'll stick. I haven't tried that. One thing you can do to eliminate those lines, it will kind of blur the inks into one another a little bit, is to take your stamp and wiggle it so you don't get the such demarcated lines. Let's try it. Well, I didn't get it all in the ink, so I'm going to clean that off and do it again. Seems to be a gap in there. Okay. I think I want the ombre effect to go this way. There. Look how pretty. I think this was $1.99, but it had still had the wrapper when I did the video, so I was able to tell you the price on the video. But I'm pretty sure it was $1.99. Well, I got a little bit of silver in there, or gold. So now it is raised, textured. You can feel it. It's a little hot. I don't want to smear it. There. It doesn't take long to cool. And it's got the multicolors, but whatever color, you could get a solid color pigment also. But if you have the clear embossing powder, this one is from Stampin' Up! Crystal Clear. I do believe that Hobby Lobby has some embossing powders, but I haven't looked at them because I have plenty of them. So anyway, whatever color of pigment ink you have, if you have clear embossing powder, you can emboss in that color. And this, I can use that in the Peacock journals if I want to, or some other kind of journal. This embossing ink, by the way, or the, what do I call it? Pigment ink, is by Hero Arts, Reactive Ombre. I'll have to look it up and see what the reactive, using water reactive dye-based ink combos. Spray with water. So it does not say it's a pigment ink. The other ones are called dye inks, and this one is reactive dye ink. But when it's on the foam, raised up like that, yeah, it's not as wet as as pigment inks, but this works, obviously. Let me show you. See, this is raised up and it's foam and it's squishy. It's full of dye ink, or whatever this is. It's got glycerin in it, I'm sure. But pigment ink is a wet ink. Okay, I hope I'm not being too confusing. Alright, let's do this blue. This looks like parchment paper that got some staining on it from coffee dye or something. Could be fun. I'm going to try another one of those floral tattoo ones. Well, okay, I'm going to try it. Just wet this a little bit. Might also make it slippery, so I think I like the glue better. And the glue, when I want to clean it off, it just washes off. See? Washes off. Let's do the green on here. I'm going to try something else right now, too. That is a pretty stamp. I got little bits of powder where I don't want it. So I'm going to use the embossing buddy on this part. just saw a little bit of corn powder puff out. Corn, is that what cornstarch. Gonna try stamping again. I've already got the powder on that one, so I do need to melt that. I just want to see if the cornstarch makes a difference here. I mean, I know it does, but I'm kind of demonstrating stuff for you. Now it better prevent the powder from sticking where it doesn't belong. Yeah, that is nice and clean. Very nice. So it's good to remember to use your cornstarch, your embossing buddy or whatever. That came from Stampin' Up. I don't know where else you get them, but they must have them other places. I'm going to show you in just a minute the difference. Okay, so this one I didn't use the embossing buddy, and you can see right here there's some powder there that didn't belong, and this one is very clean. So it makes a difference. I don't want to keep using that embossing gun on the video. So let me see if I can maybe create a cluster or two while you're here. Oops, sorry. I'm getting some fabrics and laces and stuff. Really make a mess because I've got all my inks and, or my stamps and embossing powders out. And I'm getting out more stuff. I was wondering about these laces that I dyed. If I have, oh look at, I've got a purple. It's supposed to be blue, but it really looks purple. Got lots of fun and pretty things to use. Okay, select a piece. Those two are done. Let's do this one. This is the nice clean one. I'm not that concerned about it, as I said, because it's got a boho feel. It doesn't all need to be all crisp. Okay, got that cut out. This is not a lace that I dyed. It's already yellow. This is in pretty poor shape, but it is so pretty. I love these pieces that have the netting areas too, because sometimes you just want plain netting. This is old. And it's crumpled up there. I'm going to leave it that way. Now I want to see how that would look on a page. I want the cut edge on the edge of the page. So that would be quite pretty, just as an embellishment on the page, and let the netting hang off a bit. But I'll probably sew it so there'll be some black thread on there. And I don't know if I'll add a spangle or something like that, but you know, maybe we'll see. So that's just an idea of things I can do with these, and I can also use them to decorate pockets, tags, things like that. So I guess that's going to be it for today. I may continue making some more of these pieces. I don't know. It's getting late and I've got other commitments today. Some surprise commitments that I wasn't counting on. So that's how it goes some days, right? So thanks for watching. I hope you didn't mind all the embossing gun noise, but I was having fun. I hope you were enjoying. You could always have forwarded past the embossing gun stuff, but I didn't tell you that at the beginning, but hopefully you already know that. So I'll see you in the next video, whatever I end up doing next, and I hope you're having a creative day today. Bye-bye.